Hello, hello. I'm just gonna test my sound. Welcome to another episode, guys, of Healing True Words podcast. So I'm just gonna make sure my guest is available right now. Let's see here. All right. Yeah, we'll be starting soon. Okay. So today I did have a really good setup. We're trying to improve our background, guys. So this podcast today is going to be really packed. And I really love the topic because it really speaks volume. Let me just confirm that my guest is um available. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna give them a call. Oh, I think I see you. Okay. This technology, we can never get used to it. But can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Flo. How you doing?
Um, Let me increase my volume because I think you're just to be sure I can hear you and we don't have a volume problem today. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. I think I can hear you. We can work with that. Yeah. All right, welcome, guys. So today's topic is love languages revisited. So, how to speak yours and understand your partners. Now, if you guys know around the world, like people go into relationship because they want to feel loved, right? And there are so many other reasons people go into a relationship. Some people just go into a relationship because they want to maybe procreate, or but at the end of everything, love is always the first thing that comes in mind when I meet you and I'm like, oh, I want to be in a relationship with you. I think about the fact that you are going to give me love and I'm going to also show you love. However, there's always that people get into the relationship and find out that, there is this misunderstanding. You get to see yourself in a situation where you be like, oh, I don't think my partner loves me, or the partner is always complaining of a certain thing. You don't do this, you don't do this. This is, and all of that. So you find yourself in a situation where um at the end of the day, when that harmony is not there, when our understanding is not there, that's where conflicts come. That's where we get, the relationship goes sour. People just fall out of love. So in today's episode, we're talking about how we can keep the love burning by understanding your partner's love language. It is a very important thing, whether you're married, whether you are in a relationship, whether you are in courtship, even relationship with business colleagues or with your friends. You need to understand their love language. I had to learn this, and I really thank God for this podcast. I had to learn this the really hard way, because I just realized that um, for some strange reasons, I wasn't really paying attention to love languages, but I did not even know that, it's even important. Now we're going to be having questions. I'm going to be asking my guests some questions as well, just to understand, to help you guys to in your relationship. Now, I really love the fact that we're doing this topic because a lot of relationships are going to be healed. You are going to leave here better informed, and you will leave here a better person with a better ability to be able to love your partner and love the people around you better. Um, Before we jump into questions, I'm going to give the floor to my guest if he has one or two things to add to this.
Great. Thanks, Flo. I I hope you're having a good day. Yeah. So, with regards to today's topic, very very sensitive one. Um, and I think a lot of in today's relationship, a lot of couples struggle identifying the true love languages of their partner, and I think it's something I'm excited to share and talk about as well. And hopefully, this can help different couples or people at large, um, you know, improve themselves and know how best to express their love and express their love to their partner as well. Understanding, what language works for them in terms of receiving and also expressing love as well. So yeah,
Yeah, totally. So, let's talk about what love language is. Um, I'm gonna get you to like throw just we talk about love language. Let's define that. What does it really mean? Go ahead, please.
great, great. So love language in a relationship could mean a way it could mean the way which couple express and receive love in the relationship, I believe, which helps strengthen and also helps understand each other better. So I think it's more of understanding and having a better understanding of how you want to be loved in a relationship.
Yeah, totally. So, a book that we're going to be talking about in this podcast is by um the guy's name is Gary Chapman. He did write a book called The Five Love Languages. And even when you go for Christian counseling or seminar, some pastors will recommend you to read this book because it just helps you understand your partner, especially at the beginning stage, to avoid a lot of conflicts as you go. Um, Love language, just the way the word is, there is love and there is language. So let's say you're trying to learn how to speak French and the other person speaks Chinese. How do you both communicate? One person speaks French, the other person speaks Chinese. So you can see how complicated this is. So love language is, as our guest has said, is a way to communicate how you want to be loved and how your partner also wants to receive love. That way, there have to be a communication for the language for both of you to understand your language. Now the second thing we want to talk about is, so what are the different type of love languages? We hear the thing love language. So I'm gonna get you to maybe throw some light on, some love languages you see around. Olua.
Yeah, so what you got in love languages, I think there are maybe five fundamental love languages, sorry, which includes, first, word of affirmation. I believe that's just a verbal, way of communicating and also expressing love to your partner. Um, that could mean expressing love to your partner, telling your partner how you feel about them, using words like "I love you," special, just using special words to make them feel loved. Could be one of the five fundamental love languages. Another one could be an act of service, which pretty much means you pretty much doing something for your partner in terms of, it could be um, making breakfast for your partner in bed, cooking for your partner, just running errands for them, or just doing things that pretty much, glorifies them, makes them feel beautiful, elevates them. And I think the third one is something a lot of people resonate with as well. That's receiving gifts. that's
Oh
a
yeah.
very that's a very interesting one there. Receiving gifts, that's a very big love language, in today's world as well. A lot of people like to receive gifts, and once you identify that's your partner's love language, I think it's pretty good to say you want to express that, to your partner as well. If he or she pretty much likes receiving gifts, you want to show that to your partner by, no matter how small the gift is, but you just want to, communicate that, you know communicate your love to the person, or the person receiving that love as well, with gifts. Spending quality time as well, that's another one as well. Some people they like that closure when you spend time with them. That's their own way of receiving love. you know and then lastly, the physical touch, which includes the intimacy. The intimacy, the kissing, the feel, the holding of hands, doing romantic things physically, and just physically engaging with each other. So I'll say those are the key five fundamental when it comes to love languages.
Yeah, totally. So we're going to be taking them most likely one after the other. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Words of affirmation. So let's talk about you know, I do have a situation, and one of the things I want to point out is, and that's very important, in this day and age, you get to hear maybe a relationship doesn't work out, or a marriage doesn't work out. If you actually look at the root cause of the problem, it is love language. Now, with love language, it is good to know, oh, there is acts of service, there is words of affirmation, there is physical touch, but do you know what your love language is? Because the moment you start feeling like I am not, I don't feel loved by my partner, it simply means that, sorry, give me one sec. It simply means that it's either, you don't know what your love language is, or your partner doesn't understand what your love language is. So let us reduce the amount of misunderstanding, the amount of separation, divorce, broken relationship, broken friendship, by giving you, a platform where you can listen to this and better understand the people around you. So now we're going to talk about, like, how do you even understand your love language? Like, I, I want to be loved, but what is your love language? How do you know your love language? If your partner asks you now, oh, how can I love you better?
Better.
Or, what is your love language? How will you be able to communicate that to them? Do you want to throw some light on that?
Yeah, I think first, I think as an individual, we gotta do what they call self. We gotta reflect on ourselves. We gotta be aware as well. Self awareness. So once you're aware of your love language, then you can express that to your you can communicate that to your partner in terms of how you choose to be loved. And I think that's the biggest problem here. A lot of people, you know, don't understand, what their love language is, and pretty much makes it difficult for their partner to, reciprocate love and also express love to them. And so for me, I think self awareness, and also being open to having that conversation, asking the question about, what's, how do you want to be loved? How do you want me to love you? How do you want me to express Or rather, you telling your partner as well how you want to be loved. What are the things you like and you love your partner to do for you, and you want to see in a relationship as well. So I think
Okay.
that's a big one there.
So, what I'm looking for is I don't have a partner right now, but I want to know what my love language is so that just in case, a partner comes up, I'm able to tell them this is my love language. So, how do you discover? Because you can't communicate what you don't know. So you want to be able to know what your love language is. That way you're able to communicate it to maybe your friends or your partner, because love languages covers a lot of relationship. It's not just relationship with your partner. It's also relationship with your friends. Some very close friends are close today because they understand each other's love language. Like they know that, see, this I like hyping, and the friend will be hyping you every day, or I like gifts, and a friend gives you gifts every day. So now you need to understand, like now we're leaving the other party out of it. Now we want to know, for me, how do I discover my love language? Pretty much. I can throw some comments on that. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can. Then I'm sure Troy wanted
Okay.
to.
So, one of the things you want to do when you're self-discovering your love language is you want to reflect on the things that make you feel loved, right? As you go through life, you see that people do different things for you. Some people might just, call you and say, "Hey, I have an extra jollof rice. Do you want some?" Now you want to check your mood. You want to check your mood. I'm like, this thing, this. So some people with just that gesture, they're like, maybe the friendship is here. They have carried the friendship this way, right? So that is how you kind of track how you feel loved. And another thing you want to do is you want to also observe how you express love to others. Now, this is very important because most of you don't know that the way you treat others is actually the way you want them to treat you most of the time, right? Especially when it's good things. So when you do good things for people, let's say you give them a lift, or you bought something for them, or you help them pay for their taxi or something, most of the time you are actually expecting that. And most times you're doing that because you want it to be done to you, right? I have a colleague at work that every time we show up for work, the colleague is always like hugging everybody. And now, for some people, they'll be like, Now, a lot of people, some people have actually just said, no, I don't really like it. I'm not comfortable with it, right? But you will know naturally that this person just wants that physical touch,
Physical touch. That's it.
or that, just, yeah, that bonding and all of that in terms of, physical touch. So most times we portray what what we need.
The
The
trait.
same
Yeah.
thing, the same thing with like bad emotions, right? Um anyway, let's not go to bad. Let's just keep ourselves in the love circle. But you portray what you need. So most times when you see yourself like always buying gift for your friends and they are not buying gifts for you, it's not because they don't like you or anything. It's just because that is your love language and they haven't understood it yet. Right. So another thing you want to do, which people, especially if you're in a relationship, is you want to, there are a lot of quiz. I think even Chapman's book, if you go to his online version, I'll see if I can pull that up pretty soon. There is a quiz that couples can, just, fill out the quiz, and you can get to see your partner's love language. So I encourage each, if you have a partner, you guys should take this quiz together. I'm gonna try and pop the link in the channel.
Great. Yeah.
Yes.
And just to add a feel to what you said, I think understanding as well. You getting to understand um your partner. Understand the body language. You understand even you as a person as well. Like what makes you happy. Um, Are you the type that loves to receive gifts, that loves to, you love when people use certain phrases, certain words to describe you? Um, are you the type of person that love, um, are you the kind of person that love, that's physical touch, arcs, you like, you get to see that in you as well. Like what resonates with you. I think that's the right word to use there. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
yeah.
So when you discover your love language, then we can start looking at the other party and saying, okay, um, how do I um or how do I communicate my love language to this person? Right? Then um because it's one thing to know something, it's another thing to pass that knowledge on. Same thing we're doing in this podcast. We've been able to do a few research. We know, different areas and everything. Now passing this knowledge is always, you're looking into, how do I want to pass it on? Do I set some time? We have to schedule some time for this podcast. In what environment? So can you tell us, like, how do we better communicate our love languages to our partner or our friend or any relationship?
I think like I think you mentioned as well, how do we communicate the love languages in a relationship? Setting up time to have this conversation, asking those open-ended question. Asking your spouse, your partner, how do you want to be loved? What are the things that makes you happy? What are the things that excites you? What are the things you'll like me to do to you in this relationship? Um, and I also feel creating that time, and also having that open-ended conversation, and being able to have that understanding in the sense that the more you understand your partner's love language, the better your relationship will strive in the
Yeah,
positive way, and also pretty much helps stimulate your relationship as well, because you know how best to communicate, how best to do things for your partner. It's just about understanding. When you understand them, it makes life easy for you both, and that's it.
I love that statement when you say when you understand them. So let me ask you, how do you understand your partner's love language? Because I am in a relationship and I have this partner that is just nagging me about me not loving, you know, the other party properly. What do you think I should do? Like, I don't understand. How should I understand, or how do you understand your partner's love language?
Okay. So from what I understand, with regard you, okay, your personal situation.
Oh, it's my
You.
personal situation. It's an example.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so um, if one of the partners be a little bit reluctant to understanding, or reluctant to knowing how to express, you know, his partner's love language, just about making them see reasons as to why you need to compromise. You need to also have a better understanding of how I want to be loved. I think if you're going into a relationship, it's your duty as well to want to understand your partner as well. So for me, it's in the best interest of both of you. And to address your question, how do you help such? What I'll say is you have that time to to talk about it. Tell some relationship. Some people are pretty much very vocal. They tell you from the onset, this is where I love to be loved. This is where I was loved in the past. These are the things I think. These are the things I believe. If we're both doing, we're going to be striving for success in this relationship. So I think making them understand the reason as to why you want to be loved in this way, because it makes everyone happy in the relationship. That's it.
Yeah, totally. So if you want to understand your partner's love language, like um Oluwaseun said, you want to be able to communicate it. You want to be vocal about it. You don't want to assume your partner knows your love language. Like, can't you just figure it out? No. Make sure you're communicating that. One of the things I want to add to that is you want to actually also observe how they express love. So, more, like I said, most people do things because they want you to do those things to them. They say, love your neighbor as yourself, right? So they are loving you that way because they want you. That is how they will love themselves, or that's how they also feel loved as well. Um, Another thing I want to also talk about is you want to pay attention to what they complain about. So, if someone is complaining about, oh, I don't have time, you never make time for me, it just simply means that their love language indicates quality time. Um, if they're also maybe complaining about, oh, you don't say you love me, or you don't tell me, oh, I love you, or you don't tell me, you look good. They're actually their love language is more of words of affirmation. So you want to be able to read in between the complaints. Don't take complaints personally, and also don't be a nagging partner too. And you're always like complaining, this is not working. No, you also just want to if there are complaints here and there, you want to be a listening partner that kind of listens to the complaint. The third point is you want to ask directly. So communication is always key when it comes to understanding people. Like, I can never stress this enough. If you don't communicate, I don't know, I want to be a motivational speaker now, but I don't know the other things to put there. But you need to always communicate your thoughts, communicate your languages to the partner. Nobody will assume, nobody's in your mind, nobody's gonna assume for you.
Flo, if you don't mind, just to say this as well, I think it's very important as an individual. We tend to, while we're communicating to our partner as well, we need to learn how to teach our partner how we want to be loved. There's one thing from you just saying it. You got to some situations as well. You want to show your partner, this is how I want to be loved. Tell them, but not in a very confrontational way, but make them understand physically. Show them. I love it when you cook for me. I love it when you do this to me. I love you when you tell me in the morning, babe, I love you. You're saying these things. Let them see how you want to be loved. So that's another thing again. And for those that don't understand, you can teach them. Teach them how you want to be loved as well. Or you act. That's it. Teach them, and that's why you're both in a relationship. You're trying to learn off each other. You're trying to understand each other better. So for me, that's a very strong one there. Teaching your partner how you want to be loved,
Yeah.
and vice versa as well.
So I am going to, I remember, and with this podcast, I have been blessed to kind of just have conversations with a lot of people, and a recent conversation which they permitted me to talk about this, because we're all learning here. We're all learning how, we're learning from people's mistake. You don't have to make the same mistake. So I did have a colleague of mine tell me about his story. I asked him, hey, what's up? How many kids do you have? He said he has 8 kids. I'm like, 8 kids? I'm like, how many women? And it's like, oh yeah, just one. Anyway, so his story was quite unique, and I wanted to talk about it in today's podcast. And this is what happened. So right now, it's currently going through a divorce. And the biggest thing I saw in the reason why they couldn't agree is love language. They just couldn't understand each other's love language. So he got married to this lady, this Canadian lady and all of that. He was in ministry as well. So he was a pastor. As pastors, you kind of pour love all the time to your members. But no one really thinks about how your love bank gets filled, right? So you just keep giving and giving and giving, you get to a point where you really get drained. And it's not about the people around you, it's not about your partner, it's sometimes maybe about you and how you are helping them understand, oh, I need this I need this. But, especially in the Christian space, people will expect you to be a certain way and they'll be like, are you not a man of God? Why are you expecting something in return? Why are you expecting me to love you back? Or why are you expecting me to show you love back? Anyway, as humans, what I want to emphasize from his story is um he was always giving love, but now don't forget that I heard the story from one person's side of view, right? That is his side of view. He was always giving love to his partner, but the partner was just, when he talks about, oh, can you do this, or can you help me with this? The partner will be like, and he just kind of observed that he wasn't receiving the love back. However, from what I could deduct from his story is the partner doesn't even understand his love language. Now, one thing really strikes me. He said that one day he because he was a pastor, he always received people from all over Canada, and they come to his house. They can stay in his house. He has a really big house. It gets like, children that are kind of dealing with maybe drugs or abuse or something to come stay over. Then one day, a lady did come stay over, in his, like a someone in their 20s or something the lady came and stayed over in his house. Now, he did say something, although nothing really happened, but he said something. He woke up in the morning, and in the morning, the lady was making coffee in the kitchen, and the lady asked him, "Hey, do you want some coffee?" And it dawned on him that he has never really been offered something in a while, or no one has actually really asked him if he needed something in a while. It's more like people always asking him, "Do you have this to give to me?" Right? So that was kind of where it all started, according to him, right? He didn't have any sexual relationship with the lady, but it's more like he just felt that vacuum. And over time, with his relationship, they just fell apart. And I think at that point, you just realize that you're really empty. You're empty of love because you've given out all your love and no one is pouring it back in. So now my question here is, so let's say you have a partner that you're trying to communicate to about your love language, you know, just trying to tell them, but you feel like they don't understand yet, and the relationship is getting sour. What do you do at this point?
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a very big, issue in a lot of relationship. A lot of people don't understand their love language, so it's very difficult for the other partner to express love to them. But in a situation like what you said, what I recommend or what I believe will be, I know people have different backgrounds. A lot of people are, they're brought up in a different, different way. They're brought up in different ways, and setting up a time, having this open-ended conversation, and like I mentioned again, it's in the best interest of both parties to want this to work. So it's fair enough to say, we set up a time, sit down, have a talk, and highlight the concerns. You're communicating your concerns to your partner, or your partner you know, is not pretty much, responding in a positive way. And that's why I said you gotta teach your partner how you want to be loved. Do those things, say, hey partner, like, okay, this is how I want to be loved. You show them how you want to be loved, and also you ask them as well. Ask them, how do you want to be loved? Let them show you as well. This is for me. Okay, for the partners that don't even understand their love language, when you talk about it, they start reflecting, start thinking. To be honest, I don't even know what my love language is. You know, then you start having that thoughts gradually. then you start thinking of what are the things that your man or your partner, female partner, is doing or done in the past that you like. Then from there you can say, okay, I love when you do this to me. That might be your love part. That might be your love language. So for me, talking about it and also, you know, putting in the work, I think that will be the best way to go about it. Only if the person is not willing to, is not willing to put in a lot of efforts in that relationship, will be very reluctant. So for me, having that open-ended conversation, talking about it, showing, doing those things. So that's just the way for me. If you ask me from my own understanding.
Yeah, I love that. You want to put in the work, like you said. It's all about being intentional. I hear the word intentional these days more than I've ever heard before because people are expecting luxury. They don't want to put in the work. You're expecting someone to love you with all their life, and all of that. But you'd be like, I don't want to change. I don't want to change who I am. Okay, you don't want to change who you are, but you want someone to change for you. So when you get into like a relationship or whatever it is, you should be able to be intentional about making changes, not to lose who you are.
Yeah.
That's not what we would advise. Don't ever lose yourself. But when it comes to, things that better make your relationship solid, you also want to just put in that effort. You did mention how culture can be, a factor that can affect someone's love language. Do you want to throw some light on that?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So what I mean, culture could be an hindrance with regards to how people, express the love or receive love. For instance, if you're an individual or you came from a family or an environment where it's difficult for people expressing love to you, definitely, being in a relationship with your partner, it's going to be tough for you as well because this is something you were not expressing. Sorry, this was something you were not receiving or you didn't know how it feels to be loved. You came from a very hostile environment where, people don't even express how they feel. So you having that in your upbringing, that definitely will bring some negativity into the relationship. And that might make you be a little bit um hesitant about how you wanna go about, communicating those love languages to your partner as well. And people also, the willingness to not want to change, is also another thing from a culture point of view. This is their belief. This is what I feel is right. Why should I do certain things? This is the way, a man should be. This is the way a woman should be. So for me, that's where culture kind of impacts people's relationship or couples in a relationship, and also having them to express and also receive love as well. And it could be, the positive side to that as well. But from a negative point of view, like I mentioned, if you're from a background where things are very hostile in terms of lack of love, trust me, and you didn't even grow up in an environment where your parents or people around you are expressing love, or telling themselves I love you, you don't see your parents or people in your community way older than you, having that physical touch in terms of like hugging each other. In some people's culture, it's a norm to hug, showing love. Every when you wake up in the morning, mommy, I love you, daddy, I love you, telling you. You even know something, even as siblings. Some people don't tell they've never told their sibling they love their sibling before. I'm being honest with you. No, I'm being honest, yeah.
Okay.
It sounds very awkward for some people to say I love you to their siblings. Imagine someone growing up from that kind of background. It's going to be difficult you using word of affirmation to your partner because you didn't even grow up saying I love you all the time. So you can imagine.
Yeah. So while you were talking, I actually just realized that I did grow up in a very unique situation. I grew up in Warri, Delta State. So just imagine, although I'll keep saying I'm not a Warri girl. Oh, if I grew up in Warri, but if I'm a Warri girl, like a really tush one.
There you go.
Anyway, but growing up in Warri, like how they say that worry people have mouths, you know, and also um, yeah, the culture would definitely affect you. There is no way. But when I came to Canada, I realized that a lot of my friends that grew up in Lagos, they had a different way that they kind of socialize, right? Um, and one of the things I noticed about them is they're more I'll say that they are more social because
Expressive.
Lagos there's always like parties, especially the Yorubas among them, because they're always like, hey, I don't know what their language is, yeah, but yeah, they're always like in celebration mode. So sometimes when I see them, they're always like throwing, oh, let's get together and let's do dinner. It's Thursday dinner. I'm like, are we celebrating something? You know? So you can see that you're not really used to just gathering for nothing, right? And all of a sudden you are around people that have, their culture has always been like, oh, we celebrate everything. Even if we don't need to celebrate, let's just gather and Um, let's just drink juice and just gist. I'll be like, just sit down and just drink juice and just gist. You guys don't have anything else to do. Yeah. So your culture can really affect you. So going down the list, we want to also talk about some of the common challenges that people will face in this topic. So, challenges will look like how do I learn how to speak the other person's languages, um, and all of that. So you will face challenges, right? But the core of these love languages is the word love, right? The Bible did say that love is patient and love is kind. If you don't have patience in you know waiting for your partner to get to where you are, it's going to be really difficult. You guys are going to keep hitting your heads together. People say this, and I hear my friends say this a lot, that if you can cross 5 years in any not a relationship now, in a marriage, you pretty much skate through half of your struggles, right? So, but within the first 5 years, you're really struggling with trying to understand this partner. Relationship is entirely different from, getting married, because that's like, even work relationship obviously is different from your relationship with someone one on one and all of that, right? So you want to be able to be patient with them and be kind with them. However, a lot of partners don't have patience. Want to talk about like that topic, being patient. So how much patience do I need to put into my relationship? I am really frustrated right now. My partner doesn't understand my love language. I keep telling them this is what I need. They are not just hearing. How much patience do you think I will continually exercise?
Great, great. If I understood you there, I think it's very important and vital for one to always express, a lot of patience in their relationship. Takes you a long way. It brings about harmony. It helps, both party, in a much positive way. And I'm talking about the challenges about, love languages. I say, first, it could be very difficult in terms of understanding, how to love someone, especially if the person is not an
Love is
expressive
not
person.
for babies. It is
Um,
very difficult.
it's a very
Yeah.
tough one, and I think while you're growing in the relationship, you end up discovering, oh wow, my partner pretty much has got multiple love languages, and you also want to pay attention to your partner as well and understand, you know, as my partner love language change over time, and those are the things you got to be wary of as well as a person. Like you got to be cautious in terms of understanding your partner's love language and understanding how to express such. to your partner. And also, there's a another challenge I'll say where your partner is pretty much having a set when your partner pretty much has got the certain love language, and you have a different love language. There's a little bit of struggle there in terms of a mismatched love language. You try to identify which is which and trying to find the right balance as well. So for me, that could be some barriers with regards to common barriers to understanding your partner's love language, and also misunderstanding them as a person as well.
Yeah. 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 Like I say this, to love someone is now you know that when people read, like, if you read relationship book, you kind of see some of them will define what love is, what infatuation is, and all of that. Love is working out. Even the Bible says the faith without work is dead. So you need to work out what you are saying. If you love me, you want to work it out. So loving someone is, like I said, it's not for kids. It's for very matured minds. You have to be ready to, like, take a deep breath once in a while and say, yes, we can keep going on. Let's keep going on. Now, I want to talk about um, I feel like I am not getting loved. Now, what we see these days, a lot of people will rather just go seek the love from another partner, or we rather go seek the love from someone else, or something else. And that's, in its own, is like you're already giving up on that relationship. If you're like already looking out on getting love from another person. Now, I want to get what your opinion is on this. I am someone that I just still can't feel love, my partner. I have this option, especially with the internet now. You can easily go online and start telling people, oh, I'm not receiving love, or who is ready to offer me love? And you can get people like in your DM and stuff. Now, how do we deal with things like that? Do you think it is advisable for men and women, if your partner is not giving you love, to maybe go outside and, it's called cheating, right? Cheat with someone and get the love from there? Or are there better ways to go about this?
Good. So first, let me address the idea of going outside. It's a no, no, no. In every relationship, you're gonna have different challenges, and a lot of people don't want to put in the work. You saying you want to go out there. What's the guarantee the person out there is gonna be there? Is gonna be doing the right thing, the things you want, for a long period of time. Put in the work. It's not gonna be easy, and because on the long term, if you put in the work, you both are gonna benefit from this. And for the partners who are, um, hesitant or reluctant to wanting to put in the work as well. Why are you in a relationship when you don't want to work? You don't want to, it's something you have to compromise. You got to put in sacrifice. So it's not something of, oh, your partner is doesn't want to change. If your partner is not changing, you as a person to look for a way to make this person change.
Yeah.
It's a gradual process. Tell them, I'm always much happy when you do this for me. you know, Say those things. I'm happy. And when I'm happy, it makes you happy as well. Like you claim you love me. We're trying to build something here. So that's it. And going outside, it's a no no. It shouldn't be, you know, thought about in the first place. No. Talk with your partner and see, you know, how your partner can start adopting this change. Because that's the only way. That's the only way.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I really support that, because it might seem like you are in a very tight corner and you feel like you can receive whatever you're missing from the outside world, but like, don't be deceived, right? I'm gonna use a story of, not just, let's use some celebrities. You see them in the first marriage, the second marriage, the third marriage. It just keeps going on and on, right? So don't feel like, oh, like, I do hear that, like, if your marriage doesn't work once, there is a 50% chance it's not going to work again, right? Because what you're thinking, oh, this particular thing is in someone else. Let's go find it. You discover that the thing you've been enjoying in this one is now missing. So you kind of have, no matter where you go, you kind of have that gap, you know. But obviously, you've already left this one and you're not here. You're not like, ah. So that's why you see some people leave a relationship and they are now in a new relationship and they're not like, ah, my ex is even better than this. And all of that. So you want to put in the work, like I guess you want to put in the work. Like is it? And another thing I want to also say is you are telling your partner this is my love language and they don't understand it. Depend on how you want to communicate. You want to also make sure that your communication doesn't affect the relationship as a whole. So people communicate very aggressively and they're like, if you don't do this, that I'm like they are threatening you. You know, if you don't do this relationship is over. Oga, the relationship is over. So don't come off threatening your partner, with losing the relationship. Just, you want to be more like, hey, this is what I love, though, and this is how it makes me feel, like you said. Make sure you're putting it back to yourself. Don't make it look like you're threatening them, especially when it's not even marriage, it's just a normal relationship, and you're not like, if you don't buy me, and look at all my friends are getting gifts, you don't buy me this gift, my love language is gift. Do you know how much he has? you know, and your love language is good. So you want to, make it look like, hey, I feel love this way, and also appreciate the little things you do. Now, one of the problem with um when your love language is receiving gifts is some people take it as expensive gifts. It is not.
Exactly. Yes.
It is not. Now, gift is all about the thoughts. You are looking into, the kindness of your partner.
Given.
Oh,
Yeah.
they thought about me. Oh, it's my birthday and they thought about me. Oh, they just came and gave me flowers. Now, let me even say this, talking about flowers. Growing up in Warri, I am not a flower girl, right? Now I am. I am a flower girl now because I'm in Canada. That's where the culture kind of affects. So I am not a flower girl because there's nobody gives flower in my culture, pretty much,
Oh,
right? In my environment. However, I see that in movies. But talking about flower, I think one of the first flowers, I got was from my work colleague. Yeah.
right.
So, but I get other gifts, obviously, but no flowers. Anyway, it was from my work colleague, but right now I get, a lot of flowers. My work colleague, so I think that period I was going through something and I took some time off work. I'm even emotional just talking about it. I took some time off work and they sent me flowers with a card and they all wrote on it, like, I don't want to tear up. It was so emotional. That's when I knew that, oh, maybe flower is also my love language. So it's all about the thoughts, that they put in. Do
Correct.
you have anything else to say around
Yeah,
it?
I want to touch, about the whole idea of receiving gifts. I think in today's society, a lot of things has been, pardon me, bastardized, have been abused. It's good to,
Yeah,
receive gifts, and also that might be your love language, but a lot of people put pressure on their partner as well. Just because your love language is receiving gift, it doesn't have to be an expensive item.
yeah,
You don't want to make it look like, oh, all the time, oh, get me gifts. Gotta be, nah. That's being too much.
yeah.
And you gotta. That's why for me, I'll say is a bit of balance is good. When you have balance in terms of, oh, yes, I love receiving gifts.
Hmm.
At the same time, I love word of affirmation, telling me romantic, sweet things, beautiful things, making me feel gorgeous. Um, also doing things for me. Have a mix of it. I think it's pretty much will help in the long term as well in terms of love languages as well. But don't just be that person where you always want to receive but you don't want to give, or you're pressurizing your partner as well. No, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you're beating yourself for failure. So know how to demand as well. So while you love receiving gifts, also be the type that give as well. So and
So
also try to
that's the
have a
thing.
mixture. Yeah, have a mixture of it. That kind of helps because you don't want your partner to see you as someone that's very demanding for just wanting to call a gift from me all the time. Have a mixture of it to help. I think it helps.
Yeah, yeah, it does help. Um, while you were talking, I just realized that I am not a gift person. Like, I don't want you to buy me a gift. I don't really need gifts, right? That's not my love language. Yeah. So we're gonna be talking about love language, but let me just throw this here. Gift is not my love language, and this is like me saying it plainly. But I was with my partner that his love language is all about gifts. So they will buy me like guest wash, they will buy me like Gucci this. I'm like, okay, thank you. Now the problem is gift is not my love language, but they're portraying their love language on me.
On you.
Now the conflict here is more like they are like, oh, you don't appreciate my gifts. I have
Hmm.
bought you Lamborghini. I have bought you guest. I have bought you what are the expensive brands?
Expensive brand,
Yeah, so you
Fendi,
buy me a expensive
Louis
brand. That's not my love
Vuitton.
language.
Okay.
But some girls, yes, that's their love language. I understand that. But you cannot go and bring the love language of your ex relationship and bring it to me and say, hey, come and take Gucci bags, come and take Gucci wristwatch.
Like Gucci
No.
bag.
Now there is where the problem comes in. It's more like you are showing your partner love the way you think, and you feel now the energy you're getting back from them is they're not appreciating that love. What do you do?
Yeah, that's where you have to improve on your communication as well. Make your partner understand first you're appreciating the love, the gas bag, the Gucci bag, the Fendi, you name it, the fragrances, the luxury brand and all, you name it. So at the same time, you gotta do things with wisdom. While you're receiving it, call him to the side or call out to the side and say, hey babe, yeah, I love you. And at the same time, I like it when you do this as well. You're saying it gradually, you're easing it, you're making your partner understand you love the gift, but at the same time, this is a better way to express to to for you. You'll have received the love in a much better way, but at the
Yeah,
same time, you're acknowledging what he or she is bringing to the table. But
yeah,
that's why I use the word teach them how you want to be loved. You know,
yeah. I love that. Teach
yeah,
them.
teach them and
Them.
have that conversation. you
Yeah,
know and to be honest, some people you don't always have to be sweet saying it. Say, hey babe, this is where I like this bag, I like the, say it that this thing as a lady, there's some things you need, but you want your man to do, but there's a way you say it to him, and you also understand, okay, my partner likes this.
yeah,
And like, I'll say something to you as well. I think for me, when it comes to love language personally, um I think it's a combination of the different fundamentals when we talk about the five love languages. Receiving gifts might not be my top priority because I just personally like to give myself that trait. So receiving gifts is not the biggest for me. Yes, I always embrace and appreciate gifts, but I think there are other ways which I want to be loved, which is a combination of different things. um so that's just it for me. Like, I'm glad I was able to discover this and identify this about myself. And I think as individuals, well, we can start from there. While we go back, today, go figure out what your love language is, then start from, then build from there.
yeah. So we have about like 1 or 2 more minutes to go. But I'm gonna ask you direct questions, Sheil. What is your love language? Our guests want to know.
Oh yeah, I thought I touched that. I thought
No,
I
you
touched
said a
upon.
bunch of things. You need to be specific.
Oh, gotta be
What is
specific.
your love language?
Oh,
Don't
oh, I
show
see.
general things to us.
Okay. Yeah, like that's pretty much on the spot there. For me, the combination of different things, physical touch, that culture, um, act of service. I love when, my partner does certain things for me, makes me feel special. Um, using certain phrases, romantic words, you waking up in the morning, your partner, using expressive, using beautiful words that elevate you as a man. Yeah, it makes me feel great. It makes me feel good. So I think word of affirmation is a big one for me as well. You also validate how special I am, to my partner as well. So yeah, so for me, it's a combination of different, love languages. But and sometimes if you want to, sometimes my partner do she throws in surprises with gifts. But for me personally, it's a combination of all. That's how I say quality time. You want to spend quality time at the right, in a very special way. But for me, I think it's a combination of all. I hope that answers your question.
I don't like the word all. Just now.
Yeah, like
But I
I
think you did answer the question. Actually, you did answer the question. So from what I heard from you, your love language is more of acts of service and words of affirmation. Now, with love languages, you always have that number one and number two up there.
parody, yes,
Then
correct.
the rest is also, you can't just zero out on the rest of it,
No,
right? So, like I'm asking you because the goal of this conversation is we want to know our love language. So for you guests that are watching this podcast, you want to also ask yourself this question. Is your love language words of affirmation? So you want to like get it in a high priority. Like some people will be like, the highest thing I want to see is acts of service. Now I don't have a problem, Sha, but I have a problem with acts of service because I feel like sometimes it can be quite demanding, especially from a lady's part side of you. Now, why am I saying this? Some people will be like, "Oh, I want to do things for me," and what you see is you just keep doing things for them over and over again, right? You kind of see yourself just, always because acts of service is all about working. It's not
doing
talking.
something. Yes, doing
Action.
something for your partner. Making them feel special.
Yeah. So out of service is like you're doing that little things that will ease their burden. However, people say, and things that will ease their burden will be like cooking,
Mm-hmm.
cleaning, you're helping out. That is act
Errands.
of service. You're running errand. But what I'm going to say here is that particular love language is hard work.
Yeah,
Right?
I'll put it
It's
like that.
like when we say putting the hard work in your relationship, that's what we mean.
You're doing something. Yeah.
Act of service. But a disclaimer I want to say here is if your love language is acts of service, you don't want your partner to be overwhelmed with doing those things, right? You also want to just help. Don't just sit there and say, "Oh, my act of service love language is I need you to always like just clean, just make sure everywhere is clean and all
I,
of that."
I think just to jump in there, if you don't mind, it's just the initiative of you wanting to do something for your partner. So it could be multiple, it could be different thing. It doesn't have to be the same thing over and over. But the fact that you are like, oh, you have the initiative to want to do something to make something special for your man or your lady. That's it. That's a love language. Then your partner can join you in doing that. Then you know,
So I really love the word initiative. However, it can be seen by different people in different ways. Some people will just be like, just keep doing this. This is how I want to be loved. Just continue doing it. Now, what I want to point out is before you go into a relationship, and this is what our parents didn't do, although they skate through, you want to be able to know if you can meet your partner at their love language, um, at that language. Can you meet them? If you have bad mouths, right? You cannot meet them with words of affirmation because you just keep talking down on them. Or if you're not a touchy person, and you just make sure you're having this conversation early in the relationship. So, so any closing statement from you?
yeah. What you got in today's session, I think it's very pivotal for we as individual, to reflect on ourselves, identify what are the top most priority when it comes to your love languages, or when you rank your love, or first identify your love language and see where you fall within the five fundamental love languages, and kind of like rank them to determine which truly is your, your true love language. And
Yeah.
also, for those that do have a love language, let's try to communicate that to our partner better. And also let's also learn to identify our partner's love language, and also see how we can improve, expressing our love to our partner as well. And also vice versa, like I said, it's a learning curve for everyone. We are, in a relationship, no one is perfect. In situations whereby there's a challenge in terms of, giving the appropriate love language to your partner, it's, you want to put in the work, and your partner also wants to help you in a way that you can express those express those love to her as well. So it's, or he as well. So, help each other and communicate better, and take it gradually, because because for me, it brings about positivity in the long term as well. If I know how to treat you good, it's good for me as well, because I'm always going to see you happy. I'm always going to see you, smile. But at the same time, please, let's don't abuse certain love language. Just
Yeah.
because you love to take gift, just because you like act of service, you want to abuse it. No, that's a no. So you want to know where to stop, and you want to know how to bring a balance in between there. So that's it for me. And I hope you all
Yeah.
are um pretty much happy with the content, and we brought a lot of value to you today as well.
Yeah. So guys, we do encourage you to ask questions in our live. I know that I've seen some comments on some of my social media platforms that I'm currently streaming on. So please ask questions. And also, you can always reach out to us, through messages, DM, and let us know if you would like to be part of this conversation, like coming live. We will get you in one of our slots for sure. As an ending statement, I want to say that commitment is definitely key. You want to be committed to each other, and you also want to talk about this all the time. A lot of relationships have this problem right now, or a lot of marriages also have this problem where they're really struggling with, understanding their partner. I want to also highlight that love language can change as you go. So as you keep, let's say you have kids, or let's say your career moves to another level, your love language can change. I know that my love language has actually even already changed. Just having a child. Normally, oh, I didn't even talk about my love language. My love language is quality time and words of affirmation. So if you are doing acts of service, oh God, you're wasting your time. Or if you are buying me gifts, you're not wasting your time, or it's okay. But it's more like affirmation and quality time. So I'm saying this because you just want to make sure that you're communicating that. Now, the last thing I want to say is, which I want you guys to take home with you, is everyone should ask their partner this question once every week, pretty much. And that question is, you're asking your partner, where is your love bank at? So this is a check, because when you put system in place, you also want to put a system where you're checking your progress. And it's not like, where's your love bank out? And the other partner is just like, I beg, all this, I don't like all this motivational speaker word. No, like you said, we need to be intentional in our relationship now. Relationship in the last 20 years ago is entirely different from relationship these days. So when you ask your partner, where's your love bank at? You guys can give yourself like a code, 20% or 80%. Oh man, like my love bank is 100%. This has worked in a lot of relationships, right? Ask your partner, hey, where's your love bank at? But most partner, it's more like you're actually asking them, I want to love you. Like, how much love do you want me to fill up? Some people will be like, oh, it's 50% right now. And then you're not like conscious of that. And you're also telling your partner, so let's say your partner says 50%, and you're telling your partner, oh, my own is 20%. It's not like you're not saying, fill my own up to 50% first, right? So just kind of ask these questions, and your relationship will get better every single day. Thank you guys for joining us in today's podcast. Next week, we are coming up with a really hot topic on relationship and social media. So I'm really looking forward to that. And guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next week, same